All right. Conscious Observer here. It is February 20th, uh, 2022, and it is 1:32 in the morning. Okay, so I definitely seem to love to burn the midnight oil. Okay, all right. Um, so I am coming back at you guys with another reading here, another channeled reading. This is a reading for the beautiful fellow content creator um, who is no longer with us. Her name was Lauren Smith Fields, and she was found deceased uh, on December 12th, 2021. I mean, just literally a week before Christmas. Um, she was only 23 years old. Had a beautiful, bright, life ahead of her. She was from Bridgeport, Connecticut. I pulled up an article. I'm not going to read the whole article um, um, because I have so many pages of channeled messages um, surrounding the unfortunate and untimely demise of this young lady. Um, so I don't want to have this video be too drawn out, too long, and too focused on an article. But I definitely want to read an up-to-date article so that if there's any details that are in it, it can validate and or corroborate my findings within my reading. I did this reading for Miss Lauren Smith Fields. I started this reading on February 13th, 2022, at 8:20 p.m. Okay, it took me a few days to finish it. So I want to say I finally completed. And if you guys hear me shifting through paper, that's because I write my channel messages down in my notebook, my handy dandy notebook, and yeah, so that's what you hear. Let's see. Trying to get to the last few pages so I can give you guys a date for when I like ended her reading, because it was so long, so detailed. Excuse me, so detailed. I don't even know if I want to say all the stuff that I picked up in this reading. Just for the simple fact that she even though she's no longer alive, she is still very much alive in spirit. And I don't know how she would feel if intimate and personal details of that night was which were to be shared. It's just I guess this is a invasive period during a reading, but I want to be the voice for those who are the voiceless, especially us common folks. I'm not into doing celebrity readings. I'm not saying that I won't do a famous person or two, especially if I feel so compelled, but I don't give a fuck what celebrity motherfuckers are doing. I don't care who they fucking. I don't care, what they doing, what money they spending, what money they got, what money they don't got. All I know is I don't give a fuck. I could care less. I think what's most important is using my gift to help those common folks, because how would you feel if unfortunately one of your loved ones transitioned or you transitioned, and you know one of these readers on here didn't read you, and didn't help you, help your case because you weren't famous, there's too much of that shit going on where these readers are so fucking stuck on the dicks of deceased celebrities. It's disgusting. It really is. But I digress because, yeah. But yeah, so like I said, I started this reading on February 13th, 2022 at 8:20 p.m. and I finally finished it several pages later on February 18th, 2022 at 8:56 p.m. Okay, so we have so many pages of detailed reading ahead of us. Okay, so let's get off into this article. This article was written by The Guardian. And the title of the article is "How Did Lauren Smithfields Die? And Will the Police Take Her Death Seriously?" Written by Nancy Jo Sells. Okay, all credit reserved to her. Okay, in a minor note underneath the title, it just says that authorities say the influencer died from an accidental overdose, but her family believes this could be another sad example of dangers women face from men on dating apps. This article was written Saturday, February 5th, 2021 at 6:13. Alright, so it says Lauren Smithfields was a beautiful young woman, a former high school track star who was studying to become a physical therapist. She was active on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, posting pictures and videos of herself looking healthy and glamorous. She did not use drugs, say her family members, whose grief over her untimely death is as apparent as the sense that something is missing from the story of her demise. On December 12th, at age 23, her family does not believe that Smithfields died of an accidental overdose, as the Connecticut office of the chief medical examiner has said, and one can't blame them for doubting this ruling. Okay, it continues. Smithfield's friends and family have publicly wondered if racism may explain why the Bridgeport police were allegedly so callous in their investigation of the scene, saying that the detectives failed to collect vital evidence, notified Smithfield's family of her death, or righteously investigate the last person known to have been in her company, the white man she met earlier that day on a Bumble date. This wouldn't be the first time that somebody had been drugged on a dating app. In fact, it's a serious problem that has gone largely unreported. While there have been so many stories of people being slipped drugs by their dating site matches going back years, this dangerous phenomenon has not made its way into the broader narrative of online dating culture. Just last week, a 43-year-old man in Perth, Australia, was charged with drugging and raping two women in their 20s he met on a sugar daddy dating site, allegedly putting creatine in their drinks before sexually assaulting them. In 2009, a Calgary, y'all gotta excuse me and how I'm pronouncing these cities, y'all. Anesthesiologist Barry Rolak was convicted of raping a woman he met on Bumble. So this is this is some common occurrence on this app Bumble, y'all. Like, I don't even think this app needs to be in the app store, y'all. You know, just for public safety of, you know, of women, man. Um, who suspected a okay, so he was convicted of raping a woman he met on Bumble who suspected she had been drugged, feeling woozy after having had dinner with him. Wolak was convicted of rape, though the judge ruled that there was insufficient evidence to say that he had also drugged the victim. Wolak denied both accusations. Common date rape drugs such as rolahol are usually odorless, colorless, and tasteless, and leave the body quickly, so are hard to detect. But cases with medical evidence continually uh, crop up, in the news. In 2021, for example, a woman in British Columbia reported feeling nauseous after a Tinder date. I want to stop reading this, but something is like compelling me to continue to read this article. So I'm gonna continue. So yeah. So a woman in British Columbia reported feeling nauseous, after a Tinder date. She went to a hospital where she was given a drug test that showed MDMA. I never heard of that before. And methamphetamines in her system. Substances that she's never knowingly ingested. Okay, so this is some shit that's been going on these dating apps. I heard about this years ago. Oh my god, this is scary. So scary. As of now, there is no proof that Smithfields was drugged by her Bumble date or anyone else, but the lethal mixture in her system was powerful and strange. The toxicology report showed fentanyl and opioid, paramethazine, and hydroxyzine. Girl, look, see, all these long ass, stretched out, exaggerated scientific names for just pills that is on some drug shit. It's totally unneeded, but whatever. That can be used as sedatives and alcohol. Her date told police that he had him and Smithfields had been drinking tequila, raising questions about why a young woman with no history of drug abuse would have such a very mixture of substances in her system. The lawyer of the Smithfields family, Darnell Crosland, told Bridgeport station WTNH, now to find out that all of these substances are in their daughter's body that basically took her life. They're so angry right now. So, and continue with the article. So the lawyer, basically said this sounds like a case for manslaughter. Okay. On January 25th, after weeks of activism by her family and others, and a tweet from a rapper that should remain nameless, which the family credited with helping raise awareness, Bridgeport police opened a criminal investigation. Whether hashtag Justice for Lauren will become a reality remains to be unseen. Okay, so y'all, this article goes on forever. So if you want to check it out and read it further, it is written by the Guardian. It's on the Guardian. It's on the Guardian.com. And the title of it is "How Did Lauren Smithfields Die, and Will Police Take Her Death Seriously?" I'm gonna link the article in the description box. Hopefully, I remember to do so. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get off into this channel reading. Okay, it is so lengthy. I'm already at 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm already at 15 minutes. You know, I think what I'm gonna do is read a few pages, and I'm gonna try to, like, you know, find a good place to stop. You know what? Fuck it. Look, this ain't, you know, for short attention span having motherfuckers. It's just not. Okay? You know, I this ain't the page for you. Like I said, in Kendra Johnson's reading, I am a long-winded mofo. Okay? So I just can't just do condensed chicken noodle soup shit for you. Just gotta have it quick, microwave ass niggas. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. So I'm just this is just, I'm gonna get it all out tonight, and you know, whoever is, you know, invested in this case and wants to, you know, get my channeled spiritual take on Miss Lauren Smith Field's untimely demise, and then y'all gonna sit tight, get y'all, you know, something to drink, get y'all something to nibble on, get comfortable, you know, and get prepared, you know, to hear what I picked up from Spirit. Okay, so if y'all hear anything banging in the background, that's like my pet out there. She having a ball, so please, you know, yeah. All right, so the first question I asked was, what was the relationship between Lauren and Matthew LaFountain? Okay, Matthew LaFountain is the guy who was the last to see Lauren alive on the night of December 11th, 2021. He called 911 the next day on the 12th and reported her deceased. Let me go ahead and put the disclaimer out there before I splash and jump right on into it. This reading, whatever I'm about to, you know, read, is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This is not based in any fact. It cannot be used in a court of law. It is solely, you know, opinions and writings, you know, figurative writing. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to use alleged as much as possible, but those who have eyes to see and those who have ears to hear, y'all know what's up. Okay, all right. So I asked, what was the relationship between Miss Lauren Smith Fields and Matthew LaFountain? The answer I got was, they dated off and on again for over 3 to 6 months. They met each other online on a dating app where singles meet. Okay. The next question that I asked was, how did Lauren Smith Fields feel about Matthew LaFountain? And the answer I got was, she was interested. She was initially interested in him. Thought he was a nice / decent looking guy, who looked nice and adventurous, outgoing. She was kind of off-put by how controlling he came across. Once she got to know him, she thought he was she thought he was charming at first, but started to lose interest in how. Let me turn the page. And like I said in prior readings, sometimes these messages be coming so fast, I be having to jot it down. So if I'm reading on a hooked on phonics level, I am so sorry. Please bear with me, because I have to decipher some of my own handwriting. Okay, so she thought he was charming at first, but then she started, to be off put and turned off at the fact that because he was coming across possessive, he started to be clingy. He started to be clingy, like calling her a lot, and coming by her house unannounced. One of those controlling types, slash how most men with money act, like thinking they own you just because um, they gave you a little money or paid a bill or two. She could kind of tell that he had a dark side. Okay, speaking of Matthew LaFontaine, allegedly. Um, so the next question I asked was, what kind of person was Lauren Smithfield? Now, I just want to, add a quick uh, caveat. I asked the question, what kind of person she was, just to, kind of add a feel for her personality, just so we know, what type of person she was, not to incriminate or indict the victim here. So I just wanted to go ahead on and just say that before I get to the answer of what kind of person Lauren Smithfield was. The answer I got was Lauren was beautiful inside and out. That Lauren started off as a late bloomer, but ended up blossoming into a true beauty. She was adventurous, outgoing, smart, and eager to learn, and explored and ready to explore the world. She loved her family very much. Let me flip it over. She was close to her brother. Loved and adored her mother, and loved her dad. She wasn't as close to her father as she would have hoped to be. She was independent and enjoyed being and living on her own, like in an adult way. She loved hanging out and socializing with her friends. She valued her privacy, and very seldomly did she tell her friends and family about who she was dating and about her love life. She didn't want to hear their opinion about her dating preferences, nor what did she want to talk, nor did she want to, tell them about the race of guys that she was attracted to. Okay, so that is a little bit of, that's what I got about, what kind of person Lauren Smithfield was. I just want to add a caveat after that before I go on, just to say that sometimes, and this is no slight, to Lauren, I just want to just say this to any of the young women who could be possibly, who could run across this video and listen to it. As a 30-year-old woman now, and I think back to being Lauren's age, 23, I never was the type to be in the haste and the pace to quote unquote be grown, even though you are technically grown. Once you hit 18 years old, you are never too grown to let people know where you're at, where you're going, and where you've been. Okay? I think as Black women navigating the dating world, especially in the time of this pandemic, dating online has always been dangerous. Dating online has always been crazy. I think it's even more dangerous than just meeting face to face, in a club for the first time, or, I don't know, in a grocery store, wherever people be meeting. I don't be knowing. I think it's way more dangerous because people could be, as insidious and as disingenuous as they possibly can. They can cloak themselves, hide themselves, cast fish ass, do all kind of nefarious ass, insidious shit, because they have the anonymity of hiding behind a profile, hiding behind a computer screen, a phone screen, a tablet screen, or whatever the fuck they talking to you on, okay? And you are never, too grown to tell your people what's going on. Like, what happened to this young lady, even though we haven't even got into the nitty gritty of all the things that I picked up with, conducting this reading, what happened to this beautiful young lady, what happened to Lauren didn't have to happen to her, y'all. It, just her family not being notified and having to identify her body, days after her life was already taken, that's fucked up. And it could have been avoided, not saying that she was responsible for, her life being lost, but simply saying that just, if she would have let her people know, what was going on that night, who she decided to let over, and who she, was with, and if they didn't hear from her the next day what to do, things would have went majorly differently, and we just got to keep that in mind as women, and especially as Black women, we have to keep that in mind. So, sorry I was long-winded, but I'm gonna keep on going. Okay, so now, I asked, what kind of person is Matthew LaFountain? Okay, so the answer I got was allegedly. He's a very outgoing person who lived his early life, a introvert, someone who would have been considered a nerd or awkward by his peers, a late bloomer. He's very smart, very skilled in stocks and bonds. He's highly educated and enjoys traveling and being outdoors a lot. Allegedly. What are next question? What are a few dark characteristics about Matthew LaFountain that he doesn't want anyone to know? Alright, the answer I got was he's sneaky, quick-tempered, cunning / conniving. He lets his jealousy get the best of him. He's very controlling of women he dates / hold on, y'all. Let me make sure of women he dates. Let me make sure. He's very controlling of women he dates. I think that was it. So let me just say allegedly. Next question. What were the events that led to the passing of Lauren Smith Fields? Let me add a caveat. I try to, as I, over the days of, reading this situation, of what happened to Lauren Smith Fields, I try to ask the same question but reframe it in a different way in hopes that I will get the same answer or, close to the same answer, just to make sure I was on the right trail. Okay. So if some of these, questions begin to kind of sound, a little redundant, you'll know why. Okay. So I asked, what was the event, that led to the passing of Lauren Smith Fields? The answer I got was she was sick / ill from drugs that were placed in her food and drink. She felt dizzy, she felt high and sick all at the same time. She knew something was wrong. When he wanted to come over to her house as late as what he did. He came to her house talking about Matthew LaFountain, allegedly, on the night of December 11th, around 11 to 11:30 that night. Okay? So, yeah, that was the end of the first day. I picked the reading back up on February 17th at 7:01 p.m. Alright, so next question. What was the relationship between Lauren Smith Fields and Matthew LaFountain? I just want, like I said, I asked this question before. Wanted to see the answer that I got. This is the answer that I got to this question. They were dating each other off and on again over the span of 3 to 6 months. It was an intimate relationship, casual sex with one another at least 5 to 6 times. Both were seeing. Let me turn the page, y'all. Both were seeing other people and were not exclusively dating each other. Matthew LaFountain, allegedly, is married, and he has 1 or 2 children. Okay? Allegedly. Alright, so next question. What was the reason for Matthew LaFountain being at Lauren Smith Fields' apartment on the night of December 11th, 2021? The answer I got was Matthew was at Lauren's apartment to have sex with Lauren, with or without her consent, with or without her knowledge. Lauren wanted to end things between them. Okay, so she wanted to break things off. Lauren wanted to end things between them because she found out that he was a liar. That he was lying about his job, his finances, and his marital status. He never told her, Matthew never told her that he was married and that he had children. If she would have known those details before dating him, she would have never continued seeing him. She made it very clear early on to Matthew when they first met that she hated liars and fakes and frauds. Matthew didn't want things to end between him and Lauren, so he begged her for a second chance, for just one more chance to come over and explain things to Lauren, in hopes that he could smooth things over with her so that he could keep seeing her. He was very attractive to her and didn't want her dating anyone else. Matthew could be very jealous and controlling at times, even though they weren't officially dating, and besides him being married, he didn't want Lauren seeing/dating anyone else. This whole relationship between Matthew and Lauren, allegedly. Let me turn the page. Is well documented on Lauren's phone, which is still in police evidence. And if the phone was returned to her family, there were text messages that have been deleted. So what I got from that, just to add a caveat, is pretty much if the phone is in police custody, that pretty much, the relationship between her and Matthew LaFountain, allegedly, there's text messages. There's enough to document that there was a prolonged relationship there that, basically was longer than just meeting, on the same day, meeting her that first night, and that was it. You know, yeah. So clearly, saying the details of his story was a lie. And if the family does have her phone with them, then there were messages, and if her phone doesn't any longer contain those messages in correspondence between her and Matthew, that's because it was deleted and tampered with by the police, allegedly. Okay, so there's messages on there between Matthew and Lauren. Matthew went to Lauren's apartment under the guise of hashing things out with her. He brought food and alcohol with him that night, in which he had already laced with drugs so that whether Lauren ate or drank, the drugs would enter her body. Matthew chose the specific combination of prescription drugs to spike the food and drink to cause a date rape effect, where it would result in Lauren losing consciousness so that he could take, let me flip it over, advantage of her. And once she regained consciousness, she wouldn't be able to she wouldn't be able to remember the experience, because she would have suffered, because of the effect of the drug, she would have suffered memory loss, brain fog, and would have been unable to recall the events of the night before. Matthew has drugged other women, allegedly, has drugged other women in the past, at least 2 or 3 other women that he's met up with off of other dating apps. And one of the women in particular that he date raped, one of his date rape victims, he met at a bar. Lauren, unfortunately, was the only one of his victims who passed away from the deadly drug combination, allegedly. So, I asked the question, will any of Matthew LaFontaine's other date rape victims come forward? The answer I got was yes. Another woman, a white woman, a young white woman, will eventually come forward, but she is very hesitant to come forward right now out of fear, and because the memory loss, and because of memory loss, and let me flip the page. And because of brain blurriness caused by the date rape drugs Matthew used to take sexual advantage of her, allegedly. Some of the events of what happened to her are still blurry in her mind. And that's what adds hesitancy. It makes her more. That's what adds hesitancy. It makes her more hesitant to come forward. But she knows Matthew did something to her, because she remembers going out for drinks with him one night and waking up in her bed naked, completely naked the next morning, not knowing how the night / the date with Matthew, allegedly, ended, and or how she got home, because they drove in separate vehicles that night, but she somehow ended up back at home the next morning, completely nude, with her car parked outside without any memory of how her or her vehicle made it home. Wow. Okay. All right. Hang in there, y'all. I know this is rather lengthy, but hang in there. I told you from the get-go, it's going to be lengthy. All right, so next question. What happened when Matthew LaFountain entered Lauren Smithfield's apartment on the night of December 11th, 2021? When Matthew entered Lauren's apartment, he greeted her with a hug and a kiss on the cheek. He placed the bags with the food and drink on the kitchen counter. Okay, so I'm nosy, y'all. I try to ask questions that get me answers that will get me, details that maybe the police only knows, maybe that the person of interest only knows, or maybe even is in evidence but it hasn't been released to the public yet. So this, like I said, is all alleged, all for entertainment and educational purposes. Okay, next question. What kind of food did Matthew LaFountain purchase for him and Lauren to eat? The answer I got was Asian takeout / Chinese food. Hold on, y'all. My cat acting a plum. I'm about to pluck her. Hold on. Alright, sorry about that, y'all. I ain't pluck her. I just, told her to, play nice and stop all that noise while mama trying to, record, okay? Okay, so, where were we? Yeah, alright, so it was Chinese food, that he got, allegedly. Okay, so next question. I said, what kind of drink did Matthew LaFountain bring for him and Lauren to drink? The answer I got was tequila with strawberry mixer. Okay, so yeah, he, there's like little mixers that are like, the thick kind of sweet, like little tropical flavors, and fruity flavor mixers that you could buy to, mix with, tequila. And yeah, so allegedly he bought that to mix with the tequila. Alright, so next question. Did Matthew LaFountain lace the Asian / Chinese food that he brought with him to Lauren's apartment? The answer I got was yes. He put grinded up prescription pills in the sauce for the sweet and sour chicken, and he sprinkled a little bit of the powder into the rice as well. Wow. Next question. Did Matthew LaFountain spike the alcohol he brought to Lauren's apartment? The answer I got was yes. Yes, he did. He wanted to make sure that Lauren consumed the drugs, no matter what she ate or drank that night. Ooh, this is so chilling, okay? It gets so much worse, just please, whoever's listening, if y'all can't handle the details and where this is going, please, click off, because I completely understand, just imagine, oh my God, like, just imagine, just, matter of fact, don't imagine, I lied, don't do it, don't do it. Whew, okay, alright, so, let's see where I'm at. Alright, so, next question. I asked, where did Matthew get the drugs that he used to spike the alcohol in food that night? Where did he get the drugs from? The answer I got was he purchased the drugs from a local drug dealer who has prior run-ins with the law, warrants out for his arrest, and attachments. Matthew purchases drugs, allegedly, from this dealer often because this dealer's specialty is prescription drugs, okay? I was told to underline that, okay? Adding emphasis, okay? That this drug dealer specializes in Perks, Zans, Molly's ex, and that he also cuts his product with fentanyl. Okay, all right, allegedly. All right. Next question: was it Matthew LaFountain's intentions for Lauren Smith Fields to OD/die from the drugs he put into the food and drink? The answer I got was no. It was Matthew's intention for no. It wasn't Matthew's intention for Lauren to die. He was being careless, reckless slash. Let me turn the page, y'all. Blinded by lust. He was being callous slash blinded by lust and being opportunistic. He was being a opportunistic and predatory. He was being predatory, waiting for her to lose consciousness, not caring about the worst that could happen, waiting patiently to strike, waiting for Lauren to be completely knocked out cold, not caring or being concerned about how sick she truly was, and and how that very callous lapse in judgment cost Lauren her life, letting precious time slip away. That if he would have called the paramedics when Lauren was vomiting and then started going in and out of consciousness, Lauren's life could have been saved. Wow, that is so chilling. When I got that answer, the impression that I was getting, because some might say that, oh yeah, he totally wanted to kill her, that was his intention, because that's what, happened. She ended up passing away. How it was explained to me is like being predatory. Like, you got, some date rape drugs, in your pocket or on you or whatever. You go to a female's house, and whether, she know it or not, you on some Rick Ross, shit, slip up, a Molly in her drink and she ain't even know it. You know what I'm saying? Like basically, the impression that I got is that he had intention on doing that to her from the get-go. That he wanted to slip, something in her drink or her food, so that she can just pass out like all his other victims, him have his way with her, and then him, go home the next morning and her wake up the next morning not knowing what the fuck happened to her, not having any memory or recollection of the night before. That's what I feel he intended to do. But what ended up happening was the worst case scenario, and what leads me to believe, that Lauren Smithfield's parents, especially her mother, being very adamant about Lauren not being a drug abuser or user, as this pretty much adds to why, those drugs took her life, because, fentanyl is a very powerful drug, just a small couple of, a little bit of powder can kill somebody, can kill more than one person. So if, a lot of these drug dealers on the street, they don't care. They just want, customers to return and keep on buying their damn product. So they just not selling the old, prescription drugs and weed and shit they was selling back in the day. Nah, this shit is laced. with fentanyl, because, fentanyl is like 10, 20, buku more times, potent than, meth, than heroin and shit like that. This shit, fentanyl, the high from it, I heard is way more intense, than just taking, a perk, a Xanax, or these prescription drugs, And so these, drug dealers and shit, they just want to boost their profits. They don't give a fuck who dies. And what tends to happen when fentanyl is introduced in someone's system that's never ingested fentanyl and or isn't a drug, abuser, that tends to shock their system, and those are the people who experience the most and largest amounts of overdoses, is the ones who have never even came in contact with drugs on that level or fentanyl. Okay, like, I've never smoked weed a day in my life. I'm not against it, at all. I might do it one day, I don't know, but I am not a drug abuser. I never smoked weed, I never did any drugs in my life, but took Tylenol and a leave from time to time as needed. Okay, I've never taken any hardcore drugs. So if I was on the dating scene and I wasn't married and I was out there and somebody put prescription drugs mixed with fentanyl in my drink, that should have probably killed me, because my system has never experienced any high from drugs, let alone a high like that from fentanyl. Okay, fentanyl kills seasoned drug abusers, people who done been on drugs for decades, who done build up a propensity and a need for drugs. They're dying from fentanyl overdoses. So just imagine what fentanyl would do to a person's system who doesn't do drugs at all. Okay, I just I know that was kind of long, but I just wanted to get that out there. Woo, it's getting chilly, y'all. Y'all still got time to go ahead on and check out and, click off, but I'm gonna continue. So, I think I picked up this reading, on a different day. And so I titled this page, The Event, Lauren's Death, because I wanted to, really get as many details, because right now the family has absolutely nothing of what happened that night but Matthew LaFontaine's bogus ass, lying ass version of events. Okay, you ain't about to tell me you just went over there, threw back a couple of shots, with tequila with Lauren, and she had an upset stomach, and she fell asleep on the couch, and you on some creep shit picked that girl up from the couch and carried her to the bedroom when you could have just left her on the couch and took your ass home. No, you instead insisted upon picking that girl up, bringing her to the room and sleeping next to her. Like, we supposed to believe that you a grown ass man and an old ass motherfucker, 37 years old, and she's 23, and she's gorgeous at the prime of her life. You really just just so much of a chivalrous gentleman. You just really laid next to her. Nah, bullshit. Anyway, let's get to it. All right, the event, Lauren's death. All right, what I channeled was Lauren ate some of the food that was laced with the drugs. She noticed that it tasted a little off. A few bites of the chicken and rice tasted really strange to her. She asked Matthew, allegedly, if his food tasted off too. He told her not really. And then he said that the food probably tastes a little off, because it probably tastes like that because it was kind of kind of late when he purchased the food, and that it probably tastes a little old. She stopped eating the food because she just couldn't get past the funny taste. After about 10 minutes passed, Lauren's stomach started to feel a little off. She drank some water to see if it would make her feel better. As Lauren drank a few sips of the water, they talked. Let's turn the page, y'all. They talked about just being friends and breaking things off between them. It was more so because Lauren wanted to break things off between the two. Lauren wanted things to because she wanted to break things off that night. Lauren wanted things to go. That's how Lauren wanted things to go between them from that night on, because she started feeling like he couldn't be trusted. Talking about Matthew, couldn't be trusted enough for her to take him seriously. She started to feel like there were things about Matthew and his background that was starting not to add up. Like, he looked good on paper, looked decent. He's decent looking in the looks department. He's okay in bed, but Lauren couldn't shake the fact / feeling like is that, hold on y'all, because I'm trying to interpret my writing. Lauren couldn't shake the feeling couldn't shake the fact / the feeling like something wasn't right, like things were too good to be true. She felt like this needed to be the last night of them seeing each other, and that's the vibe she wanted to send to Matthew and make it clear that from that night on they could just be cool. But that was about it, and that she didn't have any intention whatsoever that night to have sex with him or to continue to have sex with him from that point on, or any other night from that point on. She wanted something serious. She wanted something more serious with no games and no lies. When Lauren started to get her bearings after she drank a few sips of water, Matthew brought up the fact that they hadn't drank any of the alcohol he bought for them to drink. He wanted a drink before he left her apartment, he said, and insisted that Lauren didn't. Turn the page off. And insisted that Lauren didn't let him drink alone, and jokingly taunted and persisted and persuaded Lauren to drink with him, despite knowing how the drugs had made her stomach feel. Matthew, in a almost relentless, pushy, insistent type of way, insisted that Lauren drink with him. So when she finally caved in, he hopped up and insisted upon mixing the drinks himself, and promised Lauren that once they had finished drinking, he would leave. The mixer was spiked, and he made sure to add as much mixer as he could to Lauren's drink, but made sure to only add a small amount to his, enough to make his drink look cloudy, like he to look cloudy, like he added the same amount, but he really didn't. So she wouldn't get suspicious. Matthew handed her, Lauren, allegedly, the drink. He handed Lauren the drink while sipping some of his, as to lower Lauren's suspicions even more. Like, see, like what I seen was, pretty much, like him being like, come on, let's drink, like, yeah, I know your stomach, feel a little queasy, but, maybe because, you didn't eat nothing, let's, like, look, let's have a little drink, and look, I promise, fine, you don't want us to be intimate, you don't want us seeing each other anymore. I don't know how this dude talk, but this is just kind of how I was hearing it, just a bullshit ass motherfucker talk. Yeah, after this night, we ain't gotta see, we could just be cool. I'm cool with that. Look, I brought this food for us to eat. I brought, this drink for us to drink. I hate to, to just, for you to just eat my food and, drink my, and drink my tequila, without me even, getting a chance to just have a little before I leave, Come on, drink with me. That's pretty much the vibe I was, and what I was picking up on. And so, what I kind of picked up on her energy was like, shit, let me, alright, whatever, let me, drink this little drink real quick, just so you get the hell up out of my house. They're definitely, she definitely, I was picking up on, she definitely was getting irritated. She definitely was over him, and she definitely was getting to the point where she just was like, she just wanted him to leave. And yeah, so and so when he hopped up, when she said, finally agreed to the drink, I seen him hop up, get the drink, and pour like buku mixer in her drink first before even adding, only a little bit of tequila to her drink, but adding, a little bit of both to his, just to make it look like he had the same amount when he didn't. Most of, the drink that was laced with the prescription concoction, Lauren had more of that in her drink than he did. And so, when he handed it to her, he had to drink up to his lips, but I don't really see him really, taking but as small of a sip as he possibly could, but enough to make it seem like he was actually drinking his drink. Okay, so they continued to small talk as Matthew continued to watch Lauren drink, and kind of speed up. Kind of speed up so that Matthew can get the cue that her drink was completed, meaning his time was up, so he can leave now. So pretty much what I got from that is she hurry up. It had to be, he must have mixed a lot of that strawberry mixture into the tequila in order to where she probably, didn't even taste it, to where she just hurry up and guzzle it down just to, like, be like, look, I finished my shit, I finished my drink, so that's your cue to go ahead and drink your shit, guzzle your shit down so you can get out my house. That's the vibe I was getting from that. So she, drunk a lot of her drink, if not all of her drink. And, yeah, so he'll get the cue to leave, and that it'll be time for him to leave whether or not he was finished his drink. Matthew continued to make small talk. To make small talk, it takes small sips from his drink. Lauren peeped that Lauren peeped that he was taking little small little, sips of his drink, but she thought he was kind of like trying to prolong, the amount of time he was there. But really he was taking small sips of the drink, allegedly, in order not to consume the drugs that were in the drink, because it was, pretty much intended for her. So Lauren thought he was doing that to prolong his time there. Lauren started to feel off again. Once again, her stomach started to feel upset again, but now, in conjunction with feeling high, lightheadedness, she started to feel sick to her stomach, and deep down inside, let me turn the page, she started to regret allowing Matthew to even come over that night. I heard very, very plain as day in my head, big mistake, the words big mistake. She began to get up from the couch to head to the bathroom. She could feel Matthew on her heels helping her to the bathroom, where she was trying to hold herself up and over the toilet so that she could vomit. Whew, it's starting to get intense. My throat getting dry. Let me take a sip of agua. Oh. Okay, alright, so if there are any children in the room, or you can't take even more details, even though this is all for entertainment purposes, educational purposes, this is all alleged. None of this could be used in a court of law. I'm doing this reading, and I'm just reading now, but it's about to get really intense. Now is the time to go ahead on and make your exit. Okay, so yeah. Alright, so she was trying to hold herself up and over the toilet. Lauren vomited twice and felt so sick to her stomach. She felt sick enough to vomit a third time, but she started to black out. She could feel Matthew behind her, supporting her weight. She was trying to tell him to call for help. Call my mama, please. Call somebody. Please call for help. Call somebody. Call anyone. That's what she was thinking. But she was blacking out. Alright, let's see. She knew that something wasn't right. She could feel the overwhelming feeling of helplessness and doom loom over her. And the last person she wanted to be around was Matthew, touching her, putting his hands all over her. She started to feel like she was losing consciousness. Every time she came to, in the slightest, Lauren felt a cold chill run down her spine every time she felt Matthew's fingers touch her, allegedly. Matthew practically dragged Lauren back to her bedroom. He laid her across the bed, across the middle of the bed. Even though he was a little inebriated, he still had all of his faculties, but Lauren was unconscious and slipping away due to, let me turn the page. Excuse me, y'all. Due to her body not being able to handle all of the drugs in her system. So I stopped it right there that night, because it was just getting too real for me, even, you know, when I was reading it. But it's about to get even more realer. So I picked it back up on February 18th, 2022 at 5:15 p.m. I asked, did Lauren Smith Fields ever take any of the drugs that were found in her autopsy before she died? The answer I got was no. She mostly smoked a little weed from time to time and was a social drinker. You know, so she was, you know, she'll just, you know, have a blunt every blue moon or something like that. I asked, did Lauren Smith Fields ever take fentanyl before her death? The answer I got loud and clear, y'all, I kid y'all not, was hell no. Absolutely not. Okay? Alright, so, I titled this portion of the reading, The Event Part 2, Lauren's Death, because I had to, you know, ask, was, you know, Lauren, you know, not any slight towards the victim. I had to ask that in order to kind of, you know, I had to ask if she had any drug habits, just to corroborate, you know, or validate, you know, and back up what her family, you know, was saying, that, you know, about her being drug free and not being a drug abuser. So I definitely had to, you know, see, you know, what answer I got to that, you know, question. All right, so next question. What did Matthew LaFountain do to Lauren after she lost consciousness? Excuse me. He drug Lauren's limp body to her bedroom, where he put her on the bed. He then took her clothes off and sexually assaulted her until he became sexually aroused. Then he took a small bottle of lube and a condom that came in a black wrapper. The color of the condom is like a whitish kind of translucent color. I don't know why I got such a vivid description of the condom and wrapper, but that's pretty much what I was showed. He took that out of his right backside pocket. He applied the condom. He put on the condom, and he applied lube to her genitals, as well to his genitals, and he proceeded to vaginally rape Lauren, and he also performed forced sodomy on her as well. You know, I contemplated whether or not I wanted to release those details, because it's so gruesome, so graphic, and I literally had tears in my eyes, and I had to stop several times writing it. You know, I feel like, you know, I feel like I got it, you know, I went ahead and I read it, you know, because it, you know, this is all alleged, you know, and, you know, this is basically, you know, a very detailed reading of, you know, all of the events that took place on the night of December 11th, 2021, behind the closed doors of Lauren Smithfield's apartment. Whew, my God. The next question I asked was Lauren Smithfield's conscious while Matthew LaFountain was sexually assaulting / R-wording her? Even though I already said it, but allegedly. The answer I got was no, she was unconscious. She was slipping into a coma. She was dying. Okay, so she was practically like in the process of dying while he was hurting her and doing stuff to her, man. Oh my God, man, they got a special place in hell for motherfuckers like him, man. I swear to God, God forgive him for swearing. So next question I asked, around what time that night, on the night of December 11th, 2021, did Lauren actually pass? It said, the answer I got, that she passed around 3 a.m. that morning. Next question. Was the puddle of dry blood that Lauren Smithfield's family found in the middle of her bed Lauren's? The answer I got was yes, it was. It was the aftermath / result of the sexual assault / rape that was done to her, allegedly. And so the next question I asked was, did the used condom that contained semen that the family found in Lauren's bathroom, did it belong to Matthew LaFountain? The answer I got was yes, it does. His fingerprints can also be found on Lauren's bedroom dresser, the doorknob on the inside of her bedroom door as well, and his fingerprints could also be found in Lauren's bathroom, in Lauren's kitchen, on her counter, and living room. So if the family still has access, whoever, if the family or who whatever detective is investigating her murder still, if they go and they dust for fingerprints, they would definitely find his fingerprints all over her apartment. Next question. Was it true that Lauren had blood coming from her nose? And if so, why? The answer I got was Lauren died from an overdose, which caused her brain to swell, and hemorrhage, which caused blood to come from her nose. Oh my God, man. Hold on, y'all. Let me take another sip of water. My God. Next question. What did Matthew LaFountain do once he realized Lauren Smithfields was dead? The answer I got was Matthew noticed that Lauren Smithfields had blood coming from her nose after he finished sodomizing her. And he when he placed her back, while placing her body on her back, when he seen the blood coming from her nose, that's when he realized she OD'd. He started to smack her face a few times, and then he checked her pulse, but didn't feel anything, and he panicked. He freaked out. God, man. Please give her justice. Please give her justice, Lord. Next question. Oh, well, it's the same question. The same answer. He said, "Oh my effing God, I fucked up. Oh my fucking God. What the F, man? What did I do? What am I gonna do?" That's what, you know, that's what Matthew said allegedly. What did Matthew LaFontaine do when he realized Lauren died? The answer I got was he started trying to cover his tracks. He was feeling the effects of some of the drugs and alcohol also, but they were beginning to wear off. He was also starting to feel a little bit fatigued, but he knew he had to come up with a story and discard slash destroy as much evidence as he could. He knew he couldn't lie about being at Lauren's apartment that night, so he had to make up a story to tell the police when he called them. Next question: What does Matthew LaFontaine? Does Matthew LaFontaine know anyone who works for the Bridgeport, Connecticut Police Department? The answer I got was yes, allegedly. He knows a few deputies who work for the Bridgeport Police Department. Someone Matthew knows works there and is also a relative of his. He has connections. He's connected to law enforcement and to local and state municipalities, allegedly. The LaFontaine family name holds weight in Connecticut. Old family, connected to multiple old families that have been in Connecticut / in and around the Bridgeport area for years. Long old money / goes back to the first settlers of Connecticut. Small town connections, old blood. I got very clear the phrase "good old boys network." Okay, allegedly. I also got when Matthew LaFontaine finally called the paramedics. They turn the page. Like I said, it was a long reading, but I think we only got 2 more pages left, so it's gonna be lengthy. Those who really are want to find out what happened to Lauren Smithfields, then you all stick around to the end. All right, so so when he called the paramedics, they responded and came initially to help, but upon arrival, they examined Lauren's body and noticed that she was deceased. At the scene, the corruption / cover up started once they realized it was a crime scene. Allegedly, the police detectives associated with assisted with the cover up by showing a lack of interest and priority to bag and label bag, tag, and log crime scene evidence that was crucial to Lauren's case. They were only concerned with covering for Matthew, allegedly, and took Lauren's cell phone and other devices to try and destroy digital evidence that would expose the real relationship between Matthew and Lauren, allegedly. All right, we're almost done. They were hoping that Lauren would end up being just another black Jane Doe that no next of kin would come and claim and be willing to fight ruthlessly for or ruffle feathers for. Alright, next question. Who did the Bridgeport, Connecticut police, excuse me, why didn't the Bridgeport, Connecticut Police Department take Matthew LaFountain into custody? The answer I got was they let Matthew go free because of his connections and who his family is, as well as personal. The Bridgeport, as well. Okay, so let me read that over. They let Matthew go free because of his family as well as personal. The Bridgeport, Connecticut Police Department. So I guess I must have skipped the word. His personal connection to the Bridgeport Police Department, allegedly. The Bridgeport Police Department are very corrupt and have been for years. They are connected by blood ties and other nefarious dealings. And I got again the phrase "good old boys network." Rampant biases, discriminatory practices, and racist views have always played a major part in who they prioritize as the police department. Alright, so the next question. Will there be any arrests made in the case of Lauren Smith Fields? The answer I got was there will be a lot of police, there will be a lot of public outrage and attention on this case to the point where the DOJ will have to get involved. They will push for a DNA test of the semen found at Lauren's apartment, but Matthew's defense team will try to say that it isn't his, nor should it be admissible in the court case because the family found the evidence and not the detectives. The next question I asked, will Matthew LaFountain ever be charged for the murder of Lauren Smith Fields? The answer I got was yes, but it's going to take some time for the DOJ to gather sufficient evidence in order to indict him on charges. But it won't be for murder, it'll be for involuntary manslaughter. If convicted, only serving 5 to 8 years, maybe even less than that, 3 to 6 years. Not as much as Lauren Smithfield's family is hoping for. Let's see. The last question that I asked was, will the family of Lauren Smithfields win the lawsuit against the Bridgeport, Connecticut Police Department? The answer that I got, y'all, was yes, but it's going to take some time, maybe around 2-3 years, and that the Bridgeport, Connecticut police department will settle with Lauren's family out of court for only between $500,000 to $900,000. So, whew, that was very, very long and excruciating. Nothing compared, to the, unfortunate, excuse me, I've been reading for so long. My voice is kind of cracking. Hold on, y'all. This is the reading on the, late, lovely, gorgeous, young lady, Lauren Smith Fields. May you rest in peace and power, and may justice be served in your case, and peace, to your family as well, and just sending energy and love to your mama especially. I'm very close with my mom. I love my mama to death, and I couldn't imagine me being without her being without me. So that definitely struck a chord with the way, that, her mother is taking the loss of her baby. You want to, be, as a parent, you want to bury your children. You don't want to, you want to your children to bury you. You don't want to have to bury your children. So, yeah. With that, conscious observer signing out. Peace.